Hi guys, Ali Duzette here, medical intuitive and astrologer. Of course, like and subscribe if you're interested in medical intuition and astrology. And be sure to check me out on Facebook at Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. We have a ton of fun in there and talk about everything cool. Okay, let's talk about, oh my gosh, let's talk about Gemini, Venus in Gemini. That's what we want to talk about today. And I want to share my screen with you, but I forgot to pull up the screen that I wanted to share. So let me pull it right up. Here we go. Okay, and let me get the current transits. Okay, so this is right this minute in Springville, Utah, which is where I usually live. Right now I'm at the beach, which is awesome, in Virginia, which I'm from Maryland, so very fun. Okay, this is what the night sky looks like right this minute. And you can see the sun just entered Cancer, and I need to make a welcome to Cancer video as well, and I will do that. But look at this, Venus just entered Gemini yesterday. Now, Venus runs on about an 18-month orbit. So what that means is it's going to take 18 months to go all the way around in the circle and come back again. Every time any planet goes back to where it was right when you were born, you have a planetary return. And so the planet will kind of trigger or like go off. It's like a little alarm that goes like bing in that moment when it goes back to where it was. And so what that means is every 18 months, you're going to have a Venus return. And so that moment is just going to naturally allow situations to come up in your life that allow you to work on the stuff that you came here to work on. Why did you come to Earth? Like the answers for that are in your chart. There's a bunch of stuff to learn, a bunch of stuff to do, and they are indicated by the placement of your planets. And then when those planets, but okay, so I just want to show you for a little minute. This is 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to have it go forward 1 minute in time. Oh, sorry, this way. So you can see this is now we've gone, a couple of minutes. Okay, this is just a couple of minutes, but you can see the chart is changing every single minute. Look at this spot in the middle. Everything is changing 1 minute at a time. So let's stop. That just brought us about 2 hours into the future. And then we're back to where we were. And this, I don't know, it's just such an interesting, it's just amazing how fast everything can change. People being born 1 minute apart in the same location can have a different chart. But so what your life is all about is going to be indicated by your planets. And then when those planets, they keep moving, you take your first breath, but the next minute they're in a different place, they've kept on moving. And so every 18 months, you're going to have this chance for a Venus return where your soul gets to reevaluate the lessons that you were here to learn because of where your Venus was when you were born. And this is true for all the planets. You have a lunar return every month. You have a solar return every year. We call that your birthday, okay, when the sun returns to exactly where it was when you were born. You have a Venus return, a Mercury return, Uranus return, a Neptune return, you will not live to see. It takes 160 years. A Uranus return, many people don't live to see that. It takes 84 years. But the point is that all the planets are always moving and Venus moves very quickly. So most people see at least one Venus return and often many of them. So let's talk about Venus. Venus is the planet of feminine energy. Okay, Mars is your quintessential masculine energy. Venus is going to be your quintessential feminine energy. So it's about this love, femininity. It represents money because money is something that you receive, and receiving is a feminine principle. So when we're looking at a chart for money, we always check out and see what Venus is doing. Venus is in charge of Taurus. And so both of those things have to do with money. Venus has to do with nurturing. It can deal with your relationship with your mother. It can represent your mother in a chart, all of this kind of thing. But basically what you need to remember is Venus equals, feminine energy. It can also represent, in a man's chart, the kind of woman that he would be looking to marry is going to be represented by his Venus. And the same, like a woman, what kind of man she's looking for is going to be represented by Mars. So every planet going on in a chart has a lot there's a lot to know about every single one and how they can show up in all these different situations. Okay, so let's talk about Gemini. Okay, Gemini, I used to think it was like good twin, evil twin, right? Like that kind of trope. And that is really not it at all. What it really is what is true and what is the projection. Okay, okay, I'm gonna hold up my hands. Which one is true and which is the projection, you know? Basically, the big question for Gemini is authenticity. Okay, what is authentic to a Gemini versus what is the projection that they want to give off? So a lot of times, Gemini energy will portray something different than what it really is on the inside, because it doesn't do it really maliciously. It wants to get along with people. Gemini governs siblings, and not just your biological siblings, but kind of like your siblings, like all of the humans on the planet, that we're all brothers and sisters. And so we want to get along with our siblings. I mean, most people do. And so this Gemini energy is going to say, how can I get along best with my siblings? Well, you know, I'm really angry about X, or like I really feel strongly about Y, but I can't tell them because then they might not like me, they might treat me differently. So I'm just going to sweep my own feelings under the rug and present like I don't care. And that will be a way that I protect myself and still maintain these positive sibling relationships. And again, that can include all the siblings on the planet, all of the human beings. That can include your parents as like siblings in the human race, you know, everything, you know, any kind of human relationship can fall into there depending on how you interpret it. So that is the big question with Gemini. Are you being authentic? Gemini is a house of self-expression. It's a house of talking and small talk, conversations. I mean, yeah, just like the little conversations that people have with people. It is also the sign of travel, short travel. That would be going to the grocery store. It's going to be going to the gas station. When I look at gas prices, I often look at Gemini and Sagittarius in that third and ninth house axis, which both govern short-term travel and long-term travel. To me, that seems like a fine place to evaluate what's going on with gas prices, right? And so those are all, that's what Gemini has to deal with. So what does it mean to have Venus entering Gemini? Now, first off, if you have Venus in Gemini in your natal chart, you know, you run your birthday chart, and even if you don't have the specific time you were born, run it from noon. And you can do it for free at lightfieldastrology.com. And get your own chart, and it won't be 100% accurate if you don't have the right time. I use AstroGold, and this program is called AstroGold. But run your own chart and see if you have Venus in Gemini. If you have Venus in Gemini, then during this next month, these 30 days, no, sorry, I got that wrong. But in the next, you know, probably month and a half, Venus will be in Gemini, and so you're going to have situations organically arise that invite you to reevaluate your relationships, because Venus governs relationships. And Gemini also deals a lot with relationships. You're going to be invited to reevaluate your relationship with feminine energy, your mother, yourself as a mother, if you are a mother, or your relationship with motherhood as a concept. And you're going to be invited to reevaluate your relationship with money, your relationship with authentic self-expression in relationships. You'll find that situations show up that are allowing you to decide and make this conscious decision. You know, am I going to continue sweeping my true feelings under the rug? Or instead, am I going to speak up and authentically self-express in a kind and tactful way that blesses the people around me and myself with my honesty? Okay. And so that is going to be extra strong for people who natally have Venus in Gemini, which again is going to be about 1/12 of all people, which is a sizable amount, right? Okay. So Venus in Gemini for everybody right now is going to be inviting all of us to evaluate those same things, but to a slightly lesser degree than people that have a natal Venus in Gemini. So all of us get to evaluate our self-expression in our relationships, our authenticity in our relationships, how we are being authentic in our interactions with money. And this is something I talked about yesterday in my video on the grand planetary alignment that took place this morning of June 24th. This Venus in Gemini situation, Venus deals with money, Gemini deals with authenticity and deception, okay? And we're in a situation where with hyperinflation, what hyperinflation is an influx of dollar bills, of money, into an economy when those dollar bills have no tie whatsoever to work that people have done. Okay, that's when you just print off a bunch of dollar bills and flush them out into the world. That is a deception, right? It has broken the tie that is supposed to exist between money and work, because money is just a symbol of work, right? Money is just a symbol of effort and time and value. If one person puts in time and effort that somebody else values, then we reward that with money. And what has happened is all of these dollar bills have been flooded into the economy that have not been tied to money and work. They were tied to like the relief effort of COVID, right? With all these payments coming out for COVID and everything like that. And because they're not tied to kind of like the reality of what money is supposed to be, there's been this influx of dollars. And now, so then anybody could buy a lot more stuff that they wanted to buy, but like basically it threw off like supply and demand, right? When everybody has a lot more money, there's a lot more demand for the supply because now people can afford it, right? And so what you have to do to manage that demand is raise the price, you know? And so for example, like gymnastics lessons, if gymnastics lessons cost $100 a month, like that's so much, you know, and a lot of families are not going to be able to afford that. So they don't until they start getting a monthly payment, you know, like the child tax credit that comes out once a month. And now all of a sudden, hey, we could just put that towards gymnastics class. Well, that's great, except for that the gymnastics class only has, you know, 50 slots or whatever, you know. And so in order to manage the demand, they're going to have to raise the price. So now instead of $100, it's going to be $150 a month to manage how many people can actually afford it so that they can continue to keep their business under control. So it makes sense. I mean, like gymnastics lessons, you know, why don't you just hire another teacher? Okay, fine. But where you really see this is places like food, where you have a finite supply. You can't just hire another food teacher. You're going to have to like buy fertilizer, like put stuff in the ground. It's going to take a year to grow it. And then you got to harvest it and you got to clean it. You got to transport it. And when you have items, like classes are one thing, but when you have physical goods that require work and effort to create and store and transport and market and all of that stuff, it's a whole different story. And, you know, you do have to raise the price, or at least it makes sense to raise the price to manage the demand. And so anyways, so this is kind of what we're all dealing with. And to me, it is really interesting now to have Venus entering Gemini, where Venus has been transiting this Taurus energy, and Taurus deals with money and worth. And just doing the math in my mind, I think that Venus has probably been in Taurus this whole time, that inflation has been like super, super rising. Because I would say in the past month and a half, I think people are feeling it a lot more than obviously they were, you know, 3 months ago or 4 months ago. And this energy just indicates that we're going to be taking a look at, you know, when it comes to money, what is authentic and what is a deception? You know, when we see on the news that inflation is only 6% or something, is that authentic or is it deception? Like, is that what your gas bill indicates? Like, does your gas bill indicate that? Does your grocery bill indicate that what they're saying on the news is true? So that is something to consider with this energy. Now, this exact time that Venus is in Gemini, Venus rules Taurus, and we have a lot going on in Taurus. We have the moon in this exact moment. We have the moon. The moon only takes 2.5 days to go through a sign, so it will only be here for one more day, right? It's already at 12 degrees. So we're going to be like a day and a little smidgen that the moon is still here. And the part of fortune is calculated based on the placement of the moon, as I understand. And but we have Uranus in Taurus, which again, we're having the Uranus return of the Great Depression. The last time that Uranus was here, we had the Great Depression. Uranus deals with unexpected events and often catastrophes and revolution. And Taurus deals with money and land and stuff and items. And so an unexpected revolution or cataclysmic event involving land and stuff and items that has looked like the Great Depression in the past. And now here we are going through whatever we're going through on the economic level, right? But we can see that it has this flavor of unexpected events involving money. This is the North Node, and this is something I've been covering a lot. If you go back and watch my past videos, I have a lot on this nodal path. But everybody in the world right now is going through this Scorpio to Taurus nodal path. Scorpio deals with hidden secrets and hidden agendas, and I call them the skeletons in the closet. And Taurus brings them all to life. Taurus is the land and the farm and like growing things and bringing them to life. And so I call this the zombie apocalypse. This is where all of everybody's hidden agendas are going to be coming to light and taking form and taking shape. And I feel like we can already see that on kind of this international level, even on a state level, even on a local level in some cases, where we're seeing things that have been kind of secretly in the works for a long time now coming forward and being put on display. And then this is Pallas, the thinker. And so just indicating that people's thoughts are going to be heavily in this area of money, food, land, and stuff. People are going to be thinking about that. And it's our destiny to think about that. It's our destiny to have everything about our money, food, and stuff shaken up right now. And all of this is going to be tied to this Venus in Gemini right now, because Venus is in charge of Taurus. So all of this stuff that's in Taurus, Venus is the landlady of Taurus, right? She's the landlord. And so all of this stuff going on is going to come back to this Venus. And in Gemini, we have that natural question of what is authentic, what is not authentic. I want to mention really quick that Venus in Gemini, this is a placement that I often see in the charts of people with pornography addiction, sex addiction. And the reason for that is that this obviously represents feminine energy and feminine sexuality. And in a man's chart, especially what he's looking for in a woman. But Gemini is the most curious energy on the chart. And Gemini wants to know a lot about everything. And so in general, so Mercury in Gemini, we have that going on right now as well. Mercury rules Gemini. It's the landlord of Gemini. And Mercury is a thinker and a communicator. And in Gemini, Mercury wants to learn about everything and talk about it. Okay. And so with Venus in Gemini, a lot of times that energy can be an energy of wanting to sample everything, but when it comes to feminine sexuality, basically, because Venus can represent that. So this isn't to say that everybody, obviously, with Venus and Gemini is going to be dealing with those kinds of addictions or those kinds of, situations in their life. But it is to say that it's a very common placement when men come to me for help with pornography addiction. It is astonishing. It would blow your mind how often men struggling with that have Venus in Gemini. That's just very, very common. Okay. Okay. Other than that, let's see what else I want to say about it. Yeah. Okay. Venus is in Gemini now, guys. So, and it will be here for at least a month, probably a month and a half or so. So keep your eyes on it when it comes to your relationships and when it comes to your money. I just want you to always tune into yourself, put your hand on your heart when you need to, and take your deep breath. And just ask yourself if you're being authentic in how you are self-expressing. Are you self-expressing authentically in your relationships, especially in your relationships with women, especially including yourself if you're a woman, And are you experiencing authenticity when it comes to money and the things that you receive? This is a great time to really just be intentional about what you pay attention to and to be intentional about noticing what is true and what is a deception. And because Mercury is in this space as well, there's a lot of support for your conscious mind and then your like relational soul in Venus to be paying attention to this and just noticing, right? Just noticing. Um, because there's a lot of people in this world that do want other people deceived for whatever reason, right? And so we have a time right now that if you're conscious about it, it may be brought to light and brought to your attention so that you can step out of deception zone in your relationships, step out of it in your thoughts, step out of it in your relationship with money, and step into an authentic expression. The more that you can be authentic in your self-expression, the happier you are going to be and the happier everybody else around you is going to be. Maybe not in the short term, right? Because sometimes our authentic self-expression does kind of rock the boat and freak people out. But in the long term, everybody is blessed when we are all authentic in our own self-expression. Okay, that's it, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. I would love to hang out with you there. And I hope that you have a great day.